Now our task is to secure Britain's future in a world that is changing before our eyes.
It's Spring Statement Week and the conversation's all about unleashing growth.
This country is screwed.
The Bristol chapter, he was 25 years old and he said, I am 25 years old and all I've ever known is decline.
Is it nice to go and take freebies, to go to concerts that normal families cannot go to?
There are different debates raging on why our country is getting poorer. Some are blaming the bloated size of the state.
We are bankrupt.
Highest government spending for 70 years.
Others are pointing the finger at the lack of government investment in industries and infrastructure.
We're headed for a real collision with reality if they think that Britain is going to get massive investment from overseas simply because the Tories are gone.
We're seeing over in Germany is now being relaxed to invest £500 billion into their economy. We could relax the fiscal rule here.
Another group is talking about rising inequality.
Biggest ever increase in millionaire and billionaire wealth.
Lobbyists want to bully the Chancellor into being afraid of taxing capital wealth.
But there's another argument that gets less attention but is absolutely essential to understanding our economic stagnation and the growing political volatility we're seeing today.
All four of these men can easily agree on one thing, and that's that rent-seeking behavior is a malignant cancer in our society and must be stopped at all costs.
Economic rent. It often comes from monopoly positions and manipulation of economic and legal systems. It's an amount of money that exceeds that which is economically or socially necessary. The Nobel Prize-winning economist Joseph Stiglitz defines rent-seeking, and it's a good one, as, quote, getting an income not as a reward for creating wealth, but by grabbing a larger share of the wealth that would have been produced anyway. Rent seekers typically destroy wealth as a byproduct of their taking away from others.
Growth, growth, growth.
Now, why should those who care about unleashing growth care about rent extraction?
Right! Yeah!
Instead of driving innovation, productivity, and expanding national wealth, rent extraction bleeds the economy of its lifeblood. We should be opening our wallets to support our high streets, fix broken infrastructure, grow new industries like AI. We can't have growth when people are putting all this money, our money, into their pockets. Instead, our money is being siphoned away by rentiers, slashing our disposable income and reducing the incentive to work hard.
No purpose or place.
The UK housing market is now a hotbed of rent seeking, and in no part of our housing market is rent extraction more prevalent than the leasehold sector. England and Wales are outliers in the world for shackling flat owners to landlords.
You know exactly what's wrong with it.
Just tell me.
Leasehold is a fundamentally flawed legal arrangement that gives rise to conflicts of interest and power abuse. If you buy a leasehold flat, you become a leaseholder. And under the law, that means you're a tenant. And invariably, you have a landlord above you. And their ability to control running costs without picking up the tab themselves is a recipe for rent extraction. These building owners have free rein to overcharge. A 2011 study by Which estimated that leaseholders were being overcharged in inflated service charges by £700 million a year.
You get nothing. You lose.
And estate agency Hamptons found that in 2023 alone, leaseholders were paying a punishing £7.6 billion in service charges.
They stole it from me, Carmine! They took it!
People are increasingly waking up to the extractive racket that is leasehold, and they're boycotting flats as a result, with the gap in price between houses and flats in this country now at a 30-year high.
The flat market is just dead.
Through history, rights have had to be fought for.
Parliamentary representation! Preposterous!
And that's why last week, free leaseholders made a submission to the Supreme Court to fight for your right not to be ripped off in your home. We sought to formalise leaseholders' legal position on secret commissions, to get it in writing in the famous car finance case.
A PPI scale of payouts potentially coming through. And it will all depend on the Supreme Court upholding the Court of Appeal ruling.
We put forward evidence of rent extraction. We even hired a King's Counsel, a top Chancery silk, at 24 old buildings. He drew the court's attention to one of its previous rulings. Quote, long residential leases are an exceptional species of contract. In no other context is a private individual expected to enter into a financial commitment extending for the rest of his or her life.
The anxiety of getting rejected.
Sadly, we got rejected as an intervener, and so did Chancellor Rachel Reeves. Car finance commissions is yet another example of parasitic rent extractive behaviour propped up by the establishment. Even though we were unsuccessful in being an intervener in this case, the Supreme Court decision will have implications for apartment leaseholders. Disturbingly, the government seems intent on whitewashing commissions as permitted insurance fees. Permitted insurance fees will legalise looting. And remember, to get growth, we need to rebuild confidence in the flats market, which means ending all this fee farming nonsense. If the government does go ahead with this policy, rent seekers will have an act of parliament to point to justify their ill-gotten gains. Flat living is the key to unlocking growth. It enables a greater clustering of economic activity in our productive cities, where demand for housing is highest. People living closer to work benefit from shorter commutes. This leads to increasing productivity, knowledge spillovers, and more dynamic labour markets. But to achieve affordable flat living, we need England and Wales to finally join the rest of the world by extinguishing rent-seeking landlords from leasehold altogether as part of a mass shift to commonhold. Commonhold systems allow flat owners to be just that. Flat owners, democratic control over their homes, money and lives. You get to choose from a market of service providers, all competing on price and quality.
Oh, doggy!
Without widespread commonhold, we will continue to languish at the bottom of the global league table for proportion of housing given to collective dwellings over houses. If you want to support our pro-growth crusade to liberate people from a form of financial servitude while democratising home ownership, sign up to the free leaseholders mailing list now. We'll also give you priority access to Francis Tregear KC's submission for free leaseholders on why the legal principles advanced in the car finance case are even more applicable to flat leaseholders who are victims of rent seeking and building insurance.